Because if I don't spend enough time with myself, I will experience burnout. Have you compared the kind of efforts that person has put in to reach that goal? Are you putting in those kind of efforts? What happens in Pomodoro technique is that we split our time into 25 minutes intervals. So when you have an accountability, you know you have to be responsible, you're responsible towards somebody, you are responsible towards a task. So that pushes you to work harder, to achieve more.
Hello, this is our second episode of Answering the Unanswered AMA series. Today we are going to talk about Productive Day and we have Ms. Devika Khanna with us. Hello ma'am, welcome to the session.
Thank you for your invite.
Yeah, about ma'am, she is a trained mental health professional, a practicing counselor and a trainee transactional analyst. She has worked with wide range of population which includes students, employees, homeless women and clinical patients. So I would like to start this session by asking you what is productive day according to you?
Productivity refers to how efficiently you can maximize your output. By that, what I mean is that all of us have a limited source of energy on a daily basis, and how we use that energy source and how we utilize our time and energy to accomplish tasks which help us grow. It can be both on personal level, it can be both on professional levels. So this is what productivity is. What productive day looks like is a day which has a routine where you are focusing on your work, where you're focusing on yourself, where there are some components of self-care. So that is what a productive day looks like. So for example, for me, a productive day would be, say, waking up at 8 in the morning, reading a book, followed by sitting down with my laptop, working for a few hours, followed by again reading a book, taking clients, seeing clients, and then in the evening taking care of myself, which is a very important aspect of productivity. Because if I don't spend enough time with myself, I will experience burnout. If I don't spend enough time on self care, I will experience burnout. And my productivity in the longer run is going to decrease. So, a well balanced day, which has which has focus on professional life, focus on personal life, which is focus on social support system, that is spending time with your friends and family members. That is what a productive day is like for me.
Okay. So now the next question is how we tackle the guilt of not being enough productive. Because what happens, we go on social media, we see people doing numerous things, and then we look at ourselves, and we might
Right,
feel guilty of not being enough productive.
right. So one thing about these social media success stories, because even I come across Instagram a lot and I see those stories a lot, and they have influenced me in the past as well. So one thing I ask people is, you are comparing the success part, but have you compared the struggles that were behind the success? Have you compared the kind of efforts that person has put in to reach that goal? Are you putting in those kind of efforts? So because we have been conditioned and we have been like this, I mean, we've always compared the good parts. What about the struggles? Nobody takes into account the struggles. So if you're comparing the success, you should also compare the struggles. One step is that. So if you do that, you will realize, okay, this is where I'm lacking. Maybe you can learn from their struggles and make improvements in your own life, make improvements in your own routine. Right. So this is one way of dealing with the guilt that is arising as a result of social media comparison. Because this happens a lot. This has been seen in a lot of people in our generation, especially the younger group, 20, 21, 22. So they're all rushing because they see people like Bear Bicep, they see Kylie Jenner being so successful at younger age. But what we don't realize is the kind of struggles these people had gone through. Right. We see so many startup guys who've made it so well. But did we take into account how many sleepless nights they have spent? Do we take into account how much maybe they had taken a loan and they had to get rid of it first? Do we take into account all of this? Right. This is one way of dealing with the guilt. Another way, so all of us, when we're not able to strike things off our to-do list, we feel guilty. Right, that happens a lot. So we come up every night. A lot of us set a to-do list, a very detailed kind of a to-do list with so many tasks. And when we do it the next day, we there are situations, there are times when we find ourselves not being able to complete those tasks. Right. So in those situations, we need to ask ourselves, ki how the number of tasks that I had added, was that reasonable? Was that realistic? Was it were we are we going to achieve it in the given time slot? Say for example, you work for 8 hours on a daily basis, and in those 8 hours you put say 10 tasks in your to-do list, right? And in those 8 hours, if you don't complete those 10 tasks, you will feel guilty. You will say, "Okay, I've been unproductive." Right? This happens with a lot of people. But when you're sitting down and writing down your to-do list, ask yourself, will I be able to achieve these 10 tasks in 8 hours? Is this a reasonable goal? Is this a realistic goal that I'm trying to achieve? Am I doing quality work when I'm doing 10 tasks in 8 hours? Am I providing quality? Am I doing justice to each task? So when you write your to-do list, it is very important that you prioritize your tasks. You choose tasks which are more important and urgent, and which are higher on the priority list. And so there's a rule called five task rule. So you add only 5 tasks on a daily basis on your to-do list. It can be anything. It can be your work-related tasks. It can be tasks related to your personal life. If you're a blogger, it could be say those tasks could be content research, followed by content writing, followed by marketing, followed by posting. So these list of tasks, so 4 5 tasks, is good enough for somebody who's a content writer on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
But if that content writer, he had say 10 tasks. I have to reach out to influencers today. I have to reach out to magazines today. I have to write blog. I have to do content research. I have to see what is trending. So it becomes overwhelming for the person too, and he will not be able to provide quality, or he or she will not be able to provide quality content, right? And they will not do justify to themselves and to others around. So this is one thing. Another thing about productivity is that when we see, I don't know if you've heard of smart goals or not. So the way we set our smart goals, we need to set our task list. They should be measurable, they should be specific, they should be realistic, they should be achievable, and they should be time bound. So each task in the to-do list should be set according to the smart goal acronym.
Okay. As I'm a student, I can relate to this question very, like, it's too relatable. We can say. The next question is there any scale to measure if we are productive or not? Like, if you work for this many hours, then you are being productive, and if you are not, then you are not being enough
Right,
productive.
right. Productivity is again very subjective. So all of us have different threshold. All of us have different boundaries, and all of us have different levels to which we can work. Right. So having a scale, having a standard criteria to measure productivity is not there. Firstly, there isn't any scale. So if you work for 8 hours, say for example, if you're a startup guy and if you just work for 8 hours, your startup will not be able to roll out. Right. So for him, 8 hours is too less to
Mm,
call himself a productive guy.
yeah.
Say for example, if you're sick and you've got office work, so will you be able to give 8 hours to work,
Mm,
taking into account your physical health? No, right? So how do we put in a number of hours or a number of days to call ourselves productive, right? So there is no scale to measure productivity. The only way you can measure productivity is that you write a to-do list on a daily basis and you strike task off. How you write a to-do list, you limit the number of tasks to 5 tasks. If you're not able to complete those tasks in one day, you move it to the other another day before creating another to-do list. And you take 2 days. So in that case, the productivity was achieved in 2 days, right? When if the to-do list is being shifted to the second day. So the person took 2 days to complete a certain set of tasks. So if you strike off, so the only way is striking off tasks from your to-do list to measure productivity. I mean, it's also not a very relevant thing. It's not a good idea, but this is the only option that we have. Another way of measuring productivity is that all of us have goals. It can be work-related goals. It can be career, life-related goals. It can be, say, a weight loss goal, right? So if you want to lose weight, you say for example, if you want to lose 20 kgs, so you will cut that long term goal into shorter term goals. and how easily you reach those short-term goals, that can also define how productive or how productive you've been to achieve that task. I think productivity is not a good word to use in that situation. How efficient you've been to achieve those tasks. Say, for example, you have to come up, say, coming back to the content writer example. So, say, for example, a content writer has to write, say, 3 blogs in a month, right? 3 well-researched blogs. So he can split those 3 well-researched blogs into 3 different goals, 3 different long-term goals, which is one, blog two, and blog three. And now he can split the blog one into smaller number of tasks, which includes, say, content research for blog one, identifying keywords for blog one, identifying what is trending for blog one. So these are short-term goals. So as the content writer achieve each goal, he can strike it off from his to-do list. Right, and the moment he reaches his first blog, say he completes his blog one, it will measure ki yes, he's been productive. It will give you an idea ki yes, I've had a productive week because I've hit my goal within a specific timeline. Right. So if you have a goal and you're able to achieve it within the given timeline, that is also an indicator of being productive.
So timeline plays a major role.
Exactly. So if you don't have a timeline, if you don't have a time slot, you'll not be accountable for the task. You'll keep pushing it, right? Then procrastination will set in. There will be other factors that will impact it. Maybe that if the task without timelines are no longer urgent, right? And if there's no sense of urgency, you will become laid back,
Yeah.
right? Does this answer your question?
Yeah, it actually. So now we would like to wrap this session by asking the most important question, that is, what are the habits we should adapt that can make us more productive?
So habits. One habit which I live by is following a routine, following a flexible routine. So if you have a routine, if you know what you have to do on a daily basis, you will not waste time. You will not waste your energy. So say for example, you have to get up at 8 o'clock. You have to go for a walk at 8:30. So if you know what tasks have to be achieved in different time intervals, you will be more productive. You will do it. You will do them more efficiently. And there won't if you don't have a routine, doesn't it happen that you don't set a routine and you're like, okay, what do I do now? I have nothing to do. Don't you find yourself in that situation? Okay, I have to do this, but how do I do? I don't have the motivation to do that. But when there's a structure in your life, so what routine does? It gives a sense of structure. So when there's a structure, you'll be able to push it. You'll be able to push your task. You'll be able to push yourself to work harder. So you know, and when you set a routine, you'll be able to give time to all the important tasks. You won't be wasting time and thinking okay, what to do next. So setting a flexible routine is very important. Why I mention flexible is because if you set a very stringent routine and there's an uncertainty, there's an emergency, your entire routine will go down the drain on that day or in next few days. So when you add flexibility, that is when you add buffers, which is say a 2-hour buffer or 3-hour buffer or 4-hour buffer. So you have time to deal with that uncertainty also, right? So that is why having a flexible routine is very important. Another way of dealing with productivity, like I mentioned initially, is setting smart goals. So when you set smart goals, you know you have to achieve a specific task in a given time zone, which is attainable, which is realistic, and the progress can be measured in some way or the other. So, say for example, who's somebody who's in the marketing field sets a goal ki I have to achieve, I have to generate say 10,000 leads in 3 months for a specific product. So he knows the task is specific because he has to generate leads. He knows how many leads he has to generate, which is measurable. 10,000 leads, I think I said 10,000, right? So 10,000 leads. He knows the time frame, 3 months. He has the values, he has the skills and resources to do that. So it's realistic for him and it's also attainable for him. So this is how he will set a smart goal for himself. And then maybe to do it more efficiently, he can break it down into smaller goals or into monthly goals. So this is one way. This is another way of being productive. Then there's something, so all of us have, a lot of us, not all of us, some of us can sit straight for a few hours continuously and work. But majority of us have a problem of low or poor concentration span.
Yes.
So we find it difficult to sit and focus on a topic for say an hour or so. Even that becomes difficult. So for people who have difficulties on focusing on a task for longer time periods, for them what we use a technique called Pomodoro technique. What happens in Pomodoro technique is that we split our time into 25 minutes intervals.
Okay.
So we work for 25 minutes, we take a break for 5 minutes, and then we again work for 25 minutes, we take a break for 5 minutes. And these are called Pomodoros. Each 25 interval is called a Pomodoro. So 25 5 minutes break, 25 5 minutes break, 25 5 minutes break. After 3 to 4 such intervals, you take a longer half an hour break in which you can rest, you can take care of yourself, you can do anything that you like doing. And then you again repeat the cycle. Then you again move to 3 or 4 Pomodoros followed by a longer break. Again 3 or 4 Pomodoros followed by a longer break. So this is one way in which you can structure your time, and you will be able to concentrate on a task at a very in a much more sufficient way. So because this technique is very useful for people who are hooked to social media, who cannot get off Instagram easily.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For those people, it is very difficult to concentrate on a task. So, doesn't it happen with you that you are focusing on a task and you see a notification on the phone and you have an urge to check that then and there? And because the task at hand takes a backseat and you start focusing on the phone and then you end up wasting time. But if you split your time into Pomodoro, say 25 minutes and 5 minutes breaks, in those 5 minutes break, you can check your Instagram. You can respond to messages that you are receiving, right?
Yeah.
So this technique is very useful for people, especially in our generation, who are hooked to Instagram, who cannot stay off LinkedIn, who cannot stay off Twitter, who cannot stay off Facebook. Facebook to nobody uses, but again, I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. So this is another thing, another way of being productive. Last way I would recommend of being productive is that you build an accountability to other people. So a lot of us, so for example, people who are in jobs, for them they have deadline and they have to report to their manager. So that deadline and their accountability to the manager, it pushes them to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
It pushes because they know if I don't achieve this task, I will be thrown out of the job, right? If they don't achieve that task in given time slot. So they're accountable to their organization and they're accountable to their manager. So when you have an accountability, you know you have to be responsible. You're responsible towards somebody. You are responsible towards a task. So that pushes you to work harder, to achieve more. Right. So one way to build accountability is that, say, for example, somebody is struggling with their everyday task. They write their five to-do list, 5 tasks in their to-do list, and they share it with a close friend or a confidant. And they tell them, "Ki I will come back to you tomorrow night to discuss what I've achieved and what I've not achieved." So this way, they're setting up an accountability. When you're accountable to somebody, you know at the back of the mind, you know, "Ki I have to answer to this person. If I don't achieve this task, what will I say to him?" Right? So this drives us to work harder. This drives us to achieve our goal in a much more efficient way. So then we have social support. So social support helps build accountability. When you have friends whom you can rely upon, when you have family members who are willing to share, who are willing to share your burden of work or who are willing to be part of your productivity journey, you can set accountability with them, and you can share your task list or you can share your goals with them and tell them, "Ki I have to achieve this goal in so much time span. If I don't, please help me, or I will report to you," or so on and so forth. So this is how you can achieve productivity. Another way of achieving productivity. So when you have accountability, it pushes you to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these are some of the ways in which you can feel productive. They're easy to do ways, but when they sound easy, but when you sit and do it consistently over some time period, it it becomes difficult. It is difficult. So you need to consciously push yourself to work harder. You need to consciously force yourself to stick to the routine. See, once initially they will require conscious effort, but once you do it for say 20 21 days, or say for a month, it will become like a lifestyle thing for you. Yeah.
Consistency, we can say. We should,
Consistency is the key.
yeah.
If you want to achieve anything, consistency and discipline are the key.
Yeah. And that, like, they are the most hard thing to achieve.
Yes, but when you work hard, see, if you want to change, you will have to put in efforts.
Yeah.
That change can be both on personal level, on professional level, in your relationships. It can be anything, but if you want to change, you will have to put efforts.
It was a great session, and
Thank you.
insights, they will help all of us to be more productive, and I'm going to use those habits, like the techniques you told, in my daily routine. So I'm going to try my best to.
Right, right. So another thing I would like to point out is that when you say try, there is no sense of urgency. You'll be like, okay, try to karna hai, I can do it later. Or
Okay.
maybe I'll do it after a few weeks, because it's try. You're not making a commitment when you say try. When you say I will do it, when you use the word will, you make a commitment to the task.
Our words
So
reality.
sorry, I didn't get you. There was a lag.
uh, I said our words become our reality.
Exactly. So when you say try, would try, because you're not making a commitment, you will not be able to achieve it as. So use the word will. Try
Yeah.
is a band word. So I will do it.
I'll do it from now onwards.
Good. I mean, I just hope this thing works out for you.
Yeah, it will. I'm very optimistic. It
I'm
was a
glad.
great session. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, have a great and productive day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, with respect to productivity, if you don't have a productive day, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. Because say, for example, you've been working continuously for days. You need a break. Your body needs a break. Your mind needs a break. You need that break. So give yourself that break. Because if you keep working continuously and you're experiencing burnout, and you despite experiencing burnout, if you're working, it will hamper your productivity in the longer run. It will hamper your mental health in the longer run. So please give yourselves a break. Please take a Sunday off, or whichever day suits for you. Please take a day off every week, because even you need to rejuvenate. So productivity is okay, but make sure that it's not becoming toxic productivity. You're not overburdening yourself with work and commitments, and you have enough time for yourself on a daily basis.
And by day off, you mean like total social detox?
Not It's your call. I mean, if you want social detox, you can do that. For me, my day off is sleeping, binging, and just I don't touch my laptop on my day off. I either read, I either binge watch TV, or I sleep throughout. Because I need to deal with my own stressors. Because throughout the week I'm working so hard. I am so stressed. There's constant pressure from work. There's constant pressure from self to work harder. And that pressure, by Saturday, by Friday, it becomes too much. I'm like, okay, I need a break now. And the weeks I don't give myself a break because I've got classes and stuff, I don't get a break. So I am burned out by the next week. And my productivity decreases. And my mental health is in a toss. So Sunday is my break day. If there's an emergency, I take a client or so for one session or so. But otherwise, Sunday is my break day. I find it very difficult to work on Sundays.
Our body needs rest.
Not just body, our mind also needs rest. Because if body is sitting in a chair throughout the day and working in front of the laptop, body is not moving. Your mind is constantly active. It needs to calm down too. And these days there's so much happening. There's COVID pandemic. There's so much stress because of the pandemic itself, and along with that, there's work stress. Their duty towards other people. There's their duty towards home. All of that makes it extremely difficult for us, right? It's a very difficult position to be in, right? So in that situation, if we don't give ourselves a break, if we don't break from our routine, if we don't break from our whatever we are doing, we will our mental health is gone for toss. It's going to be impacted in such a bad way, and the impact is going to be a very long term impact.
Yeah.
So taking a day off, taking having a non-productive day is equally important as having productive days. Have you seen people CEOs who are working in startups, people who are founders of startups?
Yeah. I
Talk
know.
to them about their mental health. They'll give you an insight about how their productivity, which is not a very healthy thing, has impacted their well-being. Talk to people who are working in startups. Talk to them about their mental health and well-being. They'll give you a reality of being overproductive and that having an impact on their mental health. So that was my concluding remark.
Yeah, it was a great session, and I
Thank you.
must appreciate your efforts. And thank you so much.
Thank you.